contractor's exam proved to be a challenging experience. Securing a passing grade required utilizing the entirety of the allotted time. A significant factor contributing to the difficulty was the ambiguity present in the exam questions. Of particular note was the challenging nature of the state regulations section. The exam taken was the updated 2005 version. The exam results included a score of 83% in the National Electrical Code portion. The state regulations portion yielded a score of 76%. Contractor exams typically cover a broad range of topics relevant to the construction and electrical industries. The National Electrical Code, often referred to as the NEC, is a widely adopted standard for safe electrical installation. State regulations, in contrast, tend to vary significantly depending on the jurisdiction. These regulations may encompass a variety of aspects, including building codes, permitting requirements, and specific local amendments to the National Electrical Code. The process of preparing for a contractor's exam typically involves a combination of studying relevant codes and regulations, practicing with sample questions, and reviewing key concepts. The National Electrical Code is updated every 3 years, so it is important to study the most current edition. Some states also have their own electrical codes that are based on the National Electrical Code, but with state-specific amendments. It is important to study these state-specific codes as well. The contractor's exam is often a timed exam, so it is important to practice taking timed exams. This will help you to get a feel for the pace of the exam and to learn how to manage your time effectively. It is also helpful to review the exam content outline to get a better understanding of the topics that will be covered in the exam. The National Electrical Code covers a wide range of electrical topics, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. It is important to have a solid understanding of these topics in order to pass the contractor's exam. State regulations vary from state to state, but they typically cover topics such as building codes, permitting requirements, and licensing requirements. It is important to be familiar with the state regulations for the state in which you plan to work. There are many different resources available to help you prepare for the contractor's exam. These resources include textbooks, study guides, practice exams, and online courses. It is important to choose resources that are appropriate for your level of knowledge and experience. Taking a contractor's exam can be a stressful experience, but it is important to stay calm and focused. If you are well prepared, you will be more likely to pass the exam. Here are some tips for taking the contractor's exam. Firstly, read each question carefully before answering. Secondly, eliminate any answers that you know are incorrect. Thirdly, if you are unsure of the answer, make an educated guess. Fourthly, manage your time effectively. Fifthly, don't get bogged down on any one question. Sixthly, review your answers before submitting the exam. Remember that the National Electrical Code is a comprehensive document. It is essential to understand the underlying principles and how to apply them in different situations. Familiarize yourself with the structure of the National Electrical Code, including the chapter organization and the numbering system. Pay close attention to definitions, as these are critical for accurate interpretation of the code. Many questions on the contractor's exam may require you to perform calculations. Be sure to practice these types of calculations. Common calculations include voltage drop, conductor ampacity, and conduit fill. Understanding how to use the National Electrical Code tables is essential for answering many questions on the exam. Practice using these tables to find information such as conductor ampacity, conduit fill, and box fill. It is also important to understand the different types of overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses. Know the difference between these devices and how to select the appropriate device for a particular application. Grounding is an important safety requirement in electrical systems. Be sure to understand the different types of grounding systems and how to properly ground electrical equipment. Wiring methods refer to the ways in which electrical conductors are installed. There are many different wiring methods, such as conduit, cable, and raceway. Be sure to understand the requirements for each wiring method. Equipment installation covers a wide range of topics, such as the installation of lighting fixtures, receptacles, and appliances. Be sure to understand the requirements for installing different types of electrical equipment. State regulations often cover topics such as permitting, inspections, and licensing. It is important to understand the state regulations for the state in which you plan to work. Some states may require contractors to obtain a permit before starting any electrical work. Be sure to understand the permitting requirements in your state. Most states require electrical work to be inspected by a qualified inspector. Be sure to understand the inspection requirements in your state. Most states require contractors to be licensed in order to perform electrical work. Be sure to understand the licensing requirements in your state. The National Electrical Code is a complex document, but it is essential for ensuring the safety of electrical systems. Taking the time to study the National Electrical Code and state regulations will help you to pass the contractor's exam and to become a successful electrical contractor. When preparing for the exam, focus on understanding the rationale behind the code requirements. This will help you apply the code in different situations and answer questions that require critical thinking. Many exam questions will present scenarios that require you to apply your knowledge of the National Electrical Code and state regulations. Practice answering these types of questions to improve your problem-solving skills. Stay up to date with the latest changes to the National Electrical Code and state regulations. This will ensure that you are studying the most current information. Network with other electrical professionals and ask them for advice on preparing for the exam. They may be able to share their experiences and provide valuable insights. Take practice exams under timed conditions to simulate the actual exam experience. This will help you to improve your time management skills and reduce test anxiety. Get a good night's sleep before the exam and eat a healthy breakfast. This will help you to stay focused and alert during the exam. Arrive at the exam site early so that you have plenty of time to get settled in. Read the instructions carefully before starting the exam. Answer the questions that you know first and then go back to the questions that you are unsure of. Don't spend too much time on any one question. If you are stuck on a question, move on and come back to it later. Review your answers before submitting the exam. Make sure that you have answered all of the questions and that you have not made any careless errors. Remember to breathe and stay calm during the exam. If you start to feel anxious, take a few deep breaths and refocus your attention. Passing the contractor's exam requires dedication, hard work, and a thorough understanding of the National Electrical Code and state regulations. By following these tips, you can increase your chances of success.